Hello, everybody. We are a couple of annoyed grunt boys, and this is the 138th Simpsons podcast.
For he's a fabulous Flanders, which nobody can deny.
He saved our ass.
That's right. We are the podcast that explores The Simpsons from seasons 11 and beyond. Why 11 and beyond, you ask? Well, we figure there are plenty of other podcasts out there that explore the golden age of The Simpsons, and we want to reinvigorate our passion for the show by exploring later episodes to find out the greatness that exists there within. I am half an annoyed grunt boy, Steve, and with me, as always, is...
half an annoyed grunt boy, Craig.
Hello, Craig. How goes it?
You know, same old crap.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same.
So I was editing the podcast the other day. And when I'm editing, I like to have my TV on, even though if I'm like not watching it, I need that on. And I'm editing the podcast, so I have headphones on, so I can't really pay attention to it, but I just like to have that, background noise.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you turn on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and you try to find something to have in the background, but I feel like you got to commit, right?
Yeah, it feels like it should be a point, like you have to be watching what you're watching.
Yeah, it's not like back in the day, you just turn the TV on and whatever channel. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to turn the TV on and just channel surf.
Oh, wow.
I don't have cable TV.
Mm-hmm.
I have rabbit ears. Well, they're not rabbit ears anymore. They're just like these little flat things that you put, intended to get over the air TV. And there's some actually like really good channels out there that show reruns of good things. I gotta recommend Comet TV for sci-fi fans because I feel like this was programmed by 12-year-old me.
I may have mentioned this before, but when I was a kid, my dream was to be the program operator of a syndicated channel so that I would basically be responsible for programming what goes on after school, but before 8 p.m.
Yeah, I think we talked about that probably when we were in like middle school. We talked about having our own network, SAC TV, wasn't it?
Yep, the Stephen Craig network.
Yeah, SAC TV.
Exactly.
But we had like original programming. We created so Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
We created how many shows was that? Because we had like dramas, we had comedy sitcoms.
Yeah.
What if we ever invented or came up with an animated show? But
no, well, I mean, we did have the animated sitcom Steve.
Oh, right. Which there's actually like 3 scripts for that.
Yeah.
That we wrote in high school. Let's do a Patreon and we'll read those scripts. I'd be too afraid to read those.
Yeah. But I do remember we had, I think we had a movie night on Friday or Saturday.
I think isn't CBS now with going on? I think they were doing like Sunday night movies, and they've been showing like classic movies like Indiana Jones or Goonies or something like that. Yeah, I think it was to the movie UHF with Weird Al. Like that was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
Oh yeah,
that dream of like getting to run that station. So I'm just having like the TV on with like Comet TV is one of them, and it shows like 2 hours of Quantum Leap, which is I think probably like my favorite show of all time.
Sure.
Sorry, Simpsons fans, but for drama, Simpsons is my favorite comedy. Well,
you like the show just fine.
I love the Simpsons, but yeah, Quantum Leap. And then after that, this started a few weeks ago, and they show old stuff like old Mystery Science Theaters and Quantum Leap, like I said. Sliders. Remember Sliders?
Yes.
And then I saw Battlestar Galactica, and I'm just assuming it's the 70s show. Mm-hmm. No, it's the fucking good show. It's the reboot from 2000. I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow.
And then
That's great.
I was watching one episode, and I heard a bleep, and I think they actually bleeped out the word frack. Which is not the reason why they used that word is because they couldn't say fuck.
Right.
Which frack, that's better than saying fuck, I think.
Yeah, frack. Oh, Colonel Ty saying frack. I ain't no frackin' Cylon.
Colonel Ty, one of my favorite characters in TV history. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Hogan. Cool
guy.
So besides that, then there's like Antenna TV,
like
shows like old Johnny Carson's. It shows like Coach. Remember?
And a lot of great 70s sitcoms too, like
Barney Miller.
Barney Miller, which is one of my favorite shows.
There's also Me TV, which again shows like old. I think they show like old, like I've seen like Wonder Woman or like the original Star Trek and just a bunch of other old shows too. They also do like Svengoolie, the horror guy. I think every Saturday night they do like an old cheesy horror movie.
Yeah, I miss like TV that wasn't like the Svengoolie, like TV that wasn't like bad for a joke, that was just produced cheaply.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the Elvira, the Pee Wee Hermans, like that kind of stuff. I miss that without it like trying to be something. It was just them being themselves.
Yeah, I think it's because we're now at that age where we don't like new things.
Yeah, that's true.
It's funny how you at this point you kind of see how you become your like your parents. Like my dad would watch old episodes of Combat or The Fugitive, and you're like, well, this is boring. Why would you watch this?
Yeah,
it's because that's what they watched when that's what he watched when he was a kid, and that's why we do this podcast too. Because like it's I think we're lucky to the Simpsons could have easily ended 20 years ago. They could have done like 7 seasons. That's probably what they assumed.
Right.
They always say that like the show's not going to last 100 years, but it has. And The Simpsons is nice. It's a comforting to know that it's there, even if a lot of people aren't watching The Simpsons still.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of people aren't, and I still am. And I think the day when The Simpsons are like, all right, we're done making the TV show, I might actually cry.
I'm pretty sure I will, just because it's been such an important part of my life. And even if I haven't kept up every week, knowing that it's there and they're always doing something new. And then when I hear about like a comedian or a writer that I like making an appearance and seeing how they interact with the Simpsons world, that's just really cool to me.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
We're kind of lucky too that, knock on wood here, like the main cast is still alive and kicking, We've lost a couple people the past few years, but your core, your actors are still. I just feel like mentioning this now. Something bad happened.
It'll be okay.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Oh geez, we're recording this on a Tuesday. Hopefully, when this episode drops on Thursday, that nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
Between. We might have to re-record this intro.
Yeah.
Something does.
Yeardley Smith dies of coronavirus.
All right. Well, let's get on with the episode like we do. Steve, this episode that we're going to review originally aired 2009.
Interesting.
March 8th, 2009. The number one film, Steve, was Zack Snyder's The Watchmen.
Oh.
Did you ever watch the Watchmen, the new HBO show?
I tried really hard.
Really? Yeah, we did mention that. I fucking loved it.
Everybody fucking loved it. And I still intend on watching it. I don't know why. It seemed to take itself so seriously.
Okay.
And I know that it's good, but I was just never in the mood. And I still feel like I have time, and especially since it's not coming back.
Which I'm happy, like, because they were just like, no, this is a one and done. I don't need to tell the story.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's like the first 2 or 3 episodes, a little slow to get going, but the last couple episodes of the show, like, because each episode's it's different, and it might have been like episode 6 or 7 was really good, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the entire series. So yeah, Watchmen. I also enjoyed the movie,
which is a controversial take that I agree with,
because I love the book.
Me too.
And I'm one of those weirdos that watches like the ultimate cut edition, which is like 4 hours long. It also includes the the Black Freighter, the pirate story. Into it, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, maybe just I have a thing for blue dick.
Maybe you do like the blue dick.
Speaking of blue dick, Steve, what was our? Doesn't make sense. What was the number one song?
Well, number one on the Billboard Hot 100, it is "Right Round" by Flo Rida.
So we like to look up Kids Bop versions, and there is a Kids Bop version, but I found something better, Steve.
Oh boy.
A Chipmunk version.
Awesome.
Steve, that was from the Alvin and the Chipmunks 2, the Squeakquel.
Ah, very nice. Did you see that in the theater?
I missed that one. I only saw the third one in the theater. Okay,
Yeah.
So I think I probably did actually watch the first Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, but I don't know if you remember this real quick before we get on with this week's episode. I'll try to make it quick. Do you remember my pitch for the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie back in the early 2000s?
Vaguely, but I think that we should revisit it.
Okay, so here is my quick pitch. It was going to be the Chipmunks are grown up. They're adults now. And everyone kind of like moved on because they were famous kid singers, right? Or chipmunk singers. So everyone's now adult, like doing their own thing. And my casting was always going to be Jack Black was going to play Alvin. So it's going to be people dressed up it was going to, look weird with like, like how they did the like Grinch movies or
right
in the Hat. So they would have like prosthetic chipmunk features posted on. So it was going to be, Alvin was going to be Jack Black. And essentially he's just going to play Jack Black, but he's, he's got a belly. He's going to wear the A sweater, but it's, like too tight for him. And the whole thing was like him trying to get the band back together.
Right.
Would be just like a way out slapsticky Jack Black movie. That was essentially it.
I think that's still, even to this day, a really fun idea.
Right. I don't know who I would cast now.
Yeah.
This was like early 2000s, like 2002 to 2006. And I think I was Brittany. Was that her name?
Yeah.
I think I wanted like Gwyneth Paltrow. This was all like in that time phase. Simon would have been like Ross.
Oh yeah,
David Schwimmer.
Totally.
But now I think of recasting it, I would still go with Jack Black as Alvin. As like he's just gonna be a loser,
Yeah.
His best years were when he was a kid.
Yeah, maybe like Josh Gad could play Theodore.
Ooh, I like that. And then Simon could be like Justin Long. I don't know.
I was gonna say that actually. That's funny. We got to get the hip star, so we can make it a Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, he needs to be like the bad guy or something.
Oh yeah.
Or no, he's dating Brittany.
Oh yeah.
But he's a human. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah.
He's not a chipmunk. So maybe like Brittany will be. Are we doing age appropriate still with like Jack Black? He's like in his 50s now, or?
Yeah, I mean that would make sense, I guess.
But you're putting like I don't know. Put who's the hot blonde actress these days? Google hot blonde actress. Oh, maybe Anna Kendrick could be one of the other chipettes.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice.
The Theodore version, right?
Right.
And then how about the Simon or the Theodore equivalent would be like what's her name? Melissa Rauch from Big Bang Theory. The short, squeaky blonde.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't know. That is my Alvin the Chipmunks pitch. I think that was it. Okay. Hey.
So if there are any studios out there who are looking to restart Hollywood, we've got just the thing.
Right, and I'm sure we can still get for continuity reasons. Let's just still bring in Jason Lee as Dave.
Yeah, and we'll get David Cross to do whatever he did in those two.
Right. All right. Okay. So Steve, we're actually watching an episode of The Simpsons, not pitching the Chipmunks movie. It's called No Loan Again Naturally. Like we said, it aired March 8th, 2009. It was the 12th episode of the 20th season, and it goes something like this. When the adjusted rate on Homer and Marge's mortgage resets at more than they can afford, they must put their home up for sale. Good Samaritan Ned Flanders buys the house and rents it out to them at an affordable rate.
Huh.
All right, well, let's go watch that episode and come back and talk about it.
Sounds like a plan. We'll be right back. And we are back. Today we are talking about No Loan Again Naturally, the 12th episode of the 20th season. It originally aired on March 8th, 2009. It is number 432 in the show's run. Your nerd code is LABFO7. It was written by Jeff Westbrook, directed by Mark Kirkland, and your showrunner is Al Jean.
So I thought we had reviewed an episode with Jeff Westbrook, but I guess I was wrong.
Name does sound familiar.
Because according to his Wikipedia, Steve, prior to becoming a TV writer, Westbrook was a successful algorithms researcher. After majoring in physics and history of science at Harvard University, he studied computer science with Robert Tarjan at Princeton University, receiving his PhD in 1989 with a thesis entitled Algorithms and Data Structures for Dynamic Graph Algorithms. Steve, have you read that before?
It's on my bookcase, but I haven't gotten around to it.
I've just listened to the audiobook.
Yeah, it's better that way. The movie is good.
The movie's good. The graphic novel done by Marvel was really good. They got Jim Lee to draw everything.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for the animated version of that.
Yeah. Anyways, he took a faculty position at Yale University, later becoming a researcher at AT&T Laboratories before leaving research for a Sprint Laboratories, which is now T-Mobile Laboratories.
Wow.
Okay, that part was fake, but he left to research for Hollywood.
Oh, you know what he did write is he wrote Ned and Edna's Blend Agenda.
Oh,
we did review.
We did review that. You're right. Okay, so we did talk about him because I remember I was looking at them like, hey, there was some other most of the writers are from Harvard, but
sure,
this one I'm like the algorithm thing. That sounds familiar. That wasn't too far ago, right? That was
no, it's like 5 or 10 episodes ago.
It was our 55th episode, Steve.
So 12 episodes ago.
It seems like he likes doing Ned episodes because I'm looking at his wiki here, and besides the Ned and Edna, his most recent one called Better Off Ned, which hasn't even aired yet.
It's true. So our show credits begin with the three-eyed raven, and then as it pans over the town, I noticed a lot more noise than normal. I think they could be still like premiering this new extended digital opening, but when Ralph, he says, "I see stars," when Jedediah's head falls on him, and then our billboard gag is Moe's Tavern, now with electricity. Hey. And then our chalkboard gag is "I will not have fun with educational toys. Nor should you, kids." And then as Bart is skating through town and he lands on Barney, I notice that he says Bart instead of burping, which he normally does. Our couch gag is the family arrives to the living room to find that their sofa is beaten up, worn out, and dead. They bury it in the backyard and hold a funeral for the deceased furniture, who lived from 1989 to 2009. The Simpsons then visit a couch farm and ride a wild cow print sofa, and we see that the couch is in the living room with the family. Homer is in a body cast, presumably from being bucked by the new sofa. You know, it's kind of a longish intro, with the episode actually not starting until about a minute 37 in, but it was kind of fun.
Yeah, and this episode didn't feel short to me either. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I agree with you for whatever it means. It did seem like a fairly lengthy episode.
Lengthy and girthy. That's what we like, Steve.
Indeed. And sometimes you just want something short and sweet.
Do you feel bad for the couch?
I mean, it's probably out of its misery, like all the farts and
all the Bart and Homer farts.
Yeah, and people just sitting on it and never got to cash in all the pennies that's probably inside of them. But still.
And you get, speaking of farts, like, and then Lisa the vegetarian, you know, like, vegetarian farts are pretty bad sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And baby farts with
Maggie.
Yeah.
And if Marge is ever home alone, she probably doesn't do it around other people. So if she is home alone, like let's say everybody goes to school and work, and it's just her at home with Maggie, she probably lets them rip.
Yeah. Hey, we don't see that cow couch ever again. They just get another brown one, Steve. I think this is a lie.
Well, maybe they lost it when they lose their house, and they have maybe somebody bought it from them or something.
Oh, I'll buy that. But how does our episode begin, Steve?
Well, our episode begins, and it's Fat Tuesday. The Simpsons have a banner outside their house, and Homer is getting the preparations for their annual party.
Oh, Mardi Gras, you see a lot of boobies. Boy, where are my Zydeco records?
Oh, there's 12 more boxes, and they all sound the same.
I know they do, but the Simpson Mardi Gras party has been a tradition since 2 days before you were born, and we spare no expense.
What about my birthday party?
This counts as that. Ladies, how you doing with the float?
Fine, but I wish you'd picked an easier theme than Superjet Dinosaur Fun Monkeys. What does that even mean?
Homie, every year this party gets a little bigger. I'm afraid it's growing out of hand.
Hey, Homer, I have some distant relatives that I never see except for this party. Can I bring them to the party?
No problem.
Just so you know, some of them act like they hate America, but what they really hate are Americans.
Oh.
Marge, lighten up. Even Grandpa's enjoying himself.
They talk about Zydeco records and how he has a bunch of them, and they all sound the same. So much like the Mardi Gras party, my dad would always have a St. Patrick's Day party, and we'd have cabbage and corned beef and whiskey and all the Guinness and everything. But
when you were a kid, he would give you whiskey and
just
Guinness?
Usually just either some whiskey or a Guinness.
Or what's it called when you drop a whiskey in the Guinness? Is that like an Irish car bomb?
Yeah, although that might be insensitive, but also there's people who do that, so probably not. But he would have our CD player was this weird technology that was cool at first. It was a cartridge that holds 6 CDs at once, and he would have 8 of those cartridges all full of traditional Irish music, and they all sounded exactly the same.
As someone who frequents many Oktoberfests,
yeah,
it's kind of the same thing.
Totally. We also had big Oktoberfest parties, which was also the same.
But
so it's just funny that they mentioned Zydeco music like that.
But no Mardi Gras parties, huh?
Surprisingly, no, though he did celebrate Good Friday, which is another Catholic thing.
Well, here on the podcast, we only celebrate Good Burger.
Yay, Keenan and Kel.
Why would I bring up some other property that's not The Simpsons? I never would do that.
Never. So how's James Bond?
Good.
Okay.
Did I miss something in the news?
No. You'd like to talk about James Bond, so.
Yeah, you're probably right. So anyways, back to the episode, Steve. Grandpa was enjoying himself in a coffin being carried in a traditional funeral procession and then begins to wail on the trumpet, which I believe might be a reference to James Bond movie Live and Let Die.
Okay. Is there an old man who is in a coffin who plays the trumpet?
Well, no. There is an agent that's in New Orleans it's not during Mardi Gras. It's actually during someone's funeral procession, and the band's playing, and they're carrying a casket, and this guy comes up to the agent. He's like, he's asking like the guy's like, "Who's the funeral for?" And the guy's like, "For you," and then stabs him, and then they all like put him in the casket, and they start playing this song. I think the Saints Go Marching, and I don't remember, but yeah, you're right, James Bond.
See, I knew we'd get there. So the town's all there for the party, and Mayor Quimby, donning a sash that reads "Fun," declares the private party in some guy's backyard open. The mayor then gets a call from his wife, and he asks a large crowd to pretend to be in a trade seminar in Zurich. And the crowd obliges, murmuring politely in German. I like that. It was all for naught, though, as the mayor and his good wife came together for the party.
I love how Quimby's just there with the sash in some guy's backyard.
I think the best part of being a politician is getting to wear the sash. Seems like fun. I mean, literally this time, but yeah.
Fun sash.
The Bacchanalia continues with Mardi Gras King Homer throwing beads and commanding partygoers to drink of his drink, eat of his food, and put your coat on his daughter's bed. Just then, Marge asks Homer if he remembered to invite their godly neighbor, Ned Flanders.
I feel bad for this, Everyone's all having a good time, but, Homer reluctantly agrees to send an invite to stupid Flanders, providing that he wears the costume of his choice, which is, of course, the classic Wonder Woman outfit.
Yeah. Ned, who has been beamed in the head by various items flying over his fence, is tending to his garden when good old Homer pops his head into a loose slat to invite his neighbors. We also see Barney popping his head over the fence to puke, and Moe making out with Nelson's very drunk mom, who confuses the bartender for some kind of talking dog.
Okay, I was going to ask you, is that Nelson's mom? Because I was thinking it was, but I don't think it is.
Huh. I assumed it was, and I did no research.
I don't think it's Nelson's mom, Steve.
Do you think it's just some drunk lady?
Yeah, I think it's just a regular party goer. Based on just like Googling Nelson's mom. The face is similar. Oh, there's one, but that one looks like her. But there's one where she has like blonde hair, and then there's where she's brunette.
She's a stripper, though, so she has wigs.
True. All right, well, let's ask a fan of the show, Timothy. Timothy.
Hey, Timothy.
Do you think this is Nelson's mom? Just tweet at us or Instagram us or whatever. Just put it on our Facebook if you think it's his mom.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't think it's his mom, but Steve does.
Yeah, the world may never know until Timothy lets us know.
The night goes on with Marge dancing wildly as shirtless Chief Wiggum shotgunning a keg of Duff and old Ned counting down the minutes to Ash Wednesday, which is greeted by a chorus of boos by the crowd full of boos.
Hey, that's a great line.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back for that one, Steve.
I will. There we go. The next morning, we see the aftermath of the celebration with McGaggy passed out in the punch bowl, Lamb of God, Skinner, and Otto waking up next to each other, both ashamed because they probably boned, and Homer cleaning up and checking the remnants for half-drunk beer bottles. I've been to the aftermath of parties and I've seen people do that, and it's really gross. Yeah. And of course, what always happens, and this is back when smoking was more prevalent, is whomever was doing that would find that one bottle with a cigarette butt in there and take a sip. I was also going to bring up when we'd be at the bar and this is, I think, back in the day, you'd see always like the really drunk or vagrant person going to the ashtray and finding like butts that still have about one or two hits left. And those two, I don't know. Yeah,
I think this is how coronavirus started.
I think so. That's what it was named after. Is people had too many Coronas and then they'd go to the ashtrays to try and find cigarette butts.
Lindy's got a question for you, Steve.
Oh, okay.
I always wonder, how can you afford this party year after year?
Because I have this magical thing called a home equity loan. I borrow all the money I want, and the house gets stuck with the bill. Sucker.
I'm not sure that's how it works.
Fine, Mr. Skeptical. Give me back your beads.
But...
Beads, please.
I don't know how home finance works, so he might be right.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like how Homer wants his beads back.
Yeah, he's got more boobies to see.
He saw probably at least 13.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's trouble brewing, though, as the party king walks into his castle, as we see Marge, who seems to have a glass of morning wine next to her, and is shuffling through the mail and finds that the house's adjustable mortgage rate is about to be reset.
See, this is why I turned into The Simpsons, for the hilarious mortgage rate resetting.
It's a common sitcom trope. Dick Van Dyke did it. Lucy did it. MASH did it. Remember when the whole medical facility in MASH was going to be repossessed?
Yeah.
Like have a fundraiser.
And Klinger dressed up.
They did like a whole USO type show to her. And I think Bob Hope made an appearance.
Yeah, I was going to say that it was a cameo by Bob Hope. Yeah. It was a good episode.
It was a great episode.
That child died, and it got really bleak.
But there was a great monologue by Alan Alda, and I think he won like 3 Emmys just from that.
Yep.
He was like, I'm Alan Alda. Wait, nope, can't do it now. You think you hear it in your head, like, yeah, you're doing Alan Alda. Alan Alda.
Yeah, no.
We're getting too Ray Romano-y here.
Yeah, I also have a very small range of voices that I do, and they're all up here.
It's all Kermit the Frog here, Kermit the Frog here. Oh, yeah, no impressions on the show, Steve.
Oh, right, sorry.
It was like Edict from episode 2.
Well, when Marge asks her husband about the letter from Country Fine Financial, he assures her that it's just like when they stopped paying the phone bill. The phone company stopped calling. In fact, so did everybody else. Marge suggests that they see their mortgage broker, making the first day of Lent a real bummer.
At the Country Time, the Lemonade and Mortgage Company, good old Gil is there to work out a new payment plan for The Simpsons.
Let's see here. Balloon payment, 37% interest compounded every minute, not understanding the contract fee. And here's your new monthly payment.
That number's so big it has a comma.
Oh, wait, I left out a 0.
Listen, you. When you gave me that money, you said I wouldn't have to repay it till the future. This isn't the future. It's the lousy stinking now.
Now, calm down. This country takes care of its middle class.
Hey, Steve, it sure doesn't.
That's right.
This clip just kind of hit home for a lot of people in this country right now.
Yeah, not a political podcast, but the middle class has been dying for decades, especially the past 10 years. So when they make a joke about it here, it's pretty timely. It's even more timely now. And then in the world that we're living in, oof.
Pretty bleak. And hey, also props to Gil for getting a couple of lines in here and just, trying to be pals with the Simpsons.
I like Gil's performance in this episode. You got a lot to play with.
I do like the line there with Homer with, you said I have to pay this in the future, but it's now. You know how many times that back in my youth, let's say the 20s, not the 2020s, but my 20s.
The Craig 20s.
The Craig 20s, yeah. Where it's like, this credit card. Oh, I only have 6 months to pay off this thing with no interest. That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that $200 thing later became $800 with interest.
A lesson that I learned all too many times myself.
As a almost 40-year-old adult, I have my credit under control and have been doing a pretty good job. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I will.
Good for you, Craig. That's something you should be proud of. I'm also happy to be floating in that boat of some financial responsibility. Not like I'm not rich. I just have enough money to, when I spend things, I can afford to pay for it, which is a good feeling.
It is a great feeling just to know that like you got at least $20 in your pocket. That's all you need.
That's right. As long as you can buy a hot dog, a French fries, and a new Beanie Baby, you're good to go.
I prefer a Funko Pop, Steve.
Oh, yeah. You're hipper than I am. I'm more retro cool.
Yeah. Well, anyways, back to the TV show. So at 742 Evergreen Terrace, it's been foreclosed, Steve. Ooh. And the house is up for auction. So Gil tries to comfort Homer by telling the brutal story of the bank CEO who was fired and only got out with $50 million. And somehow he had to survive in the north of France.
Yeah.
The lover loser has more advice, telling the Simpsons to learn to make soup from rocks and grass, heating it with the sun, or maybe hobo fires. Oh, Gil, can't do that work for you. I like how Homer here is, sympathetic towards the billionaire, essentially. Also, not a political podcast, but
not a political podcast, but
the way corporations, their stimulus money and bailouts, and let's keep the those guys rich, right, Steve?
Yeah, gotta save Applebee's.
I gotta say, I did get my stimulus check, and I did with that money contribute to local restaurants. And although I was using Uber Eats, and that's kind of a
Yeah, but you're also helping somebody who has
right.
What I assume is probably a tough job.
Because I rarely ever did got food delivered because I'm like, I'm not paying this delivery fee, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to cook right now. I will just take out. And I did 3 back-to-back orders. Not back-to-back, but like, a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Got like a pizza from a local pizza place, and then got Thai from a local Thai place. And what was the other one? Man, I forget now. Oh, wait. Never mind. One was a corporation.
Well,
it's
a small corporation.
Well, they're franchised out, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Funny thing is, a local pizzeria is usually kind of spendy, and then like a local Thai place is it's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Taco Bell's super cheap. I'll just let you know the night of Taco Bell, alcohol was consumed, and I spent the same amount at Taco Bell that I would at more expensive places.
I can only imagine. I understand that.
Waking up in the morning with leftovers, just hanging out, like, oh, there was Taco Bell last night.
such a feeling. I haven't felt that in a while.
Yeah. No wonder my stomach is killing me this morning.
I have been supporting my local breweries because Bearlick Brewing out of Portland, Oregon, one of my favorite breweries, is doing home delivery of beer. And so for more money than it needs to be, you can get like 4 packs of beer delivered to you. And it's really good. I'm enjoying a beer right now from them.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
So, yeah. That's how I'm supporting my local business, by drinking more.
Hey, you too. Support your local businesses and your local podcasts.
That's right. It's local because it's locally located in your ears.
Well, back to the episode, Steve. Potential buyers come to survey the house, such as the crazy cat lady who uses her kitty's tongue as a tape measure. Weird. Dr. Hibbert, who needs a home for his au pair, who feels that the Simpsons crab shack makes Dr. Hibbert's guest room look like a winter palace. Do you think we should do an episode of The Simpsons, write a script where Dr. Hibbert gets Me Too'd?
Oh, that could be fun.
Not for Hibbert.
No, but...
I actually like Hibbert. I don't want to get him Me Too'd.
No.
If anyone, it should be, I was going to say Brockman, but in the past couple of episodes, we've
really grown to love Brockman, yeah.
Who would be a great Simpsons character to be Me Too'd? Tweet at us at 13simpsons. Maybe, no, not Gil.
No. Rainier Wolfcastle, maybe?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, who's a character?
Duffman.
Artie Ziff. Let's get rid of Artie Ziff. We talked about it last week about.
That's true.
We're not a fan of that character, but it's also a reason for John Lovitz to come back. But he has like 4 other characters he can do.
Mm-hmm.
They should just bring back Jay Sherman on this. Just make him on The Simpsons.
Just make him a resident of Springfield.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be good.
There's no film critics anymore.
Right. And he could just have like an online blog, and he moves to Springfield because it's cheaper to live there because he can't afford to live in New York anymore because it's so expensive.
All right. Mike Reese, Al Jean, if you're listening, there's your critic entryway. Just put him in there.
There you go.
Al, are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Ah, cool. Go away.
Okay.
Bye, Al. Stevie there?
Oh, yeah, here I am.
What was Al doing over there?
He was just hanging out. He heard that I bought some beer and he just wanted to see what I got.
Were you playing Paul Simons, You Can Call Me Al? And he's like, I better go over there.
You sure can.
All right.
Well,
bonkers today.
As Homer's busy stealing copper wires from the walls, Marge is lamenting the house she made into a home.
I know I shouldn't get too attached to a building, but that's where Lisa took her first step. The kid's height, Homer's weight.
This is so hard because I always thought Mom was the strong one.
She is. Look.
And Bart points to Homer in the front yard, crying and tying a noose around his neck. As he kicks the stool and goes to hang himself, the tree is uprooted by his weight and falls, landing on the family car. And that's 2 hangings back to back with last week with Artie Ziff, which is a good point.
I'm hoping the next, whatever the Wheel of Random, there's going to be another hanging.
Yeah, like the hat trick of hanging.
I'm sure there is. I mean, I don't know what next week's episode is, but I'm sure there's plenty of hanging jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I think a good hanging joke is good. A good hanging joke is good. That doesn't make sense.
No, but you're right, because I was thinking about it, and I mean, obviously, suicide isn't supposed to be funny, but as MASH taught us, it is painless.
Hey, 2 MASH references in this episode.
That's right.
Let's go for the hat trick there.
All righty. we'll let it happen organically.
No, we won't.
But I feel like of ways to kill yourself, this is Blake. Hanging yourself is the funniest, just because it's the most physically elaborate, and it takes a while, and so it's visual.
I think David Carradine's was the funniest.
That's true. But when the writers were coming up with the visuals for The Simpsons, they decided that Homer should be wearing like brief underwear rather than boxers because they thought it was funnier. And also whenever Marge says underpants, she says underpants rather than underwear because it's funnier. Hanging is a good example of that, where you find you want a prime example of a thing, and you find the funniest one, in this case, killing yourself with a noose. Yeah, I will say, though, to go back a little bit, the Marge crying over the house it's actually genuinely kind of emotional.
There's actually a few emotional things in this episode. We'll get to one pretty soon, actually. We then go to the auction where Moe isn't interested in the house. As no one has been murdered, Mr. Burns opens up his bidding at $100,000 as he needs a place to store his cufflinks.
Oh.
The Simpsons family can't bear to watch their home being sold, so they walk away sullen.
Well, Ned sees the scene and bids $101,000, causing the audience to gap. And if you look at the screen at 8 minutes and 31 seconds on Disney Plus, in the back row, there's Skinner. He's looking rough. He's looking pretty melted.
I think we'll have to post that screen grab on Instagram. Yeah, he does look melted, maybe hanging out in a tanny booth. You know what it is? I wonder if it is a amalgamation of Skinner and his mom, Agnes.
Oh, that very well could be.
So maybe she was there, and maybe, I don't know, maybe just the way that it was animated, they merged somehow. Because if you look at it, it looks like it's Agnes.
It kind of does, yeah.
It's her face and then his face. Yeah, I don't know. We'll tweet it out.
Yeah, but so Burns is out as he already lifted his auction paddle once.
What is he, Hercules, Steve?
Yeah. So the house is Flanders, and the auction is over.
Okay, folks, hand in your paddles. Round ends together, please. Round end... What is this, randomly toss in your paddle day?
Ned, you bought our house. Why?
So I can rent it back to you. Just pay what you can till you get back on your feet.
Ned Flanders, I can't believe what you doodly did for us.
Well, seriously, Ocean said to the dirt, I appreciate the sediment.
And on the zillionth day, God created hugs, and it was good.
Come on, kids. Let's take our stuff back inside.
Better let me go first. I left a little, surprise upstairs for the new owner.
So, Homer must have took a giant deuce.
That's the first thing that I thought of.
And it's like, oh, okay, so here it goes, The Simpsons. So Homer just took a giant shit, is going to clean it up. So he fearfully runs up the stairs of the vacant house to their bedroom to obviously clean up that giant shit, where he's left a little surprised. Well, it's not little in my opinion, Steve.
No.
In fact, it's not what we thought. It's actually a bouquet of flowers with a card that reads, "Please love our home as much as we did." You know, I was expecting the stupid joke, like the poop, and that's what you're expecting, obviously. And
right.
That little thing, I haven't had a moment of awe in The Simpsons since, seasons 1 through 10.
That's right, yeah.
It's the one thing that's kind of The Simpsons has lacked of this past, 20 years now is that heart.
Right, and this one felt so organic, because you think about shows that go in the past where they bought the house to all the times that we've shared with them in the house. They really have had a lot of experiences in this house. It's where The Simpsons became The Simpsons. And so, yeah, I thought that was really sweet.
I gotta say, I won't tip my hat to how I felt about the episode, but that one scene itself, it's just A+.
Yeah. Also in the clip, I really liked the auctioneer being so frustrated with people not praising their paddles.
Yeah.
So The Simpsons praise Ned with a song, banner, and even a photo of the two families together, which Bart attempts to ruin by making his trademark funny face.
That's great that that funny face came back. I like that. Sorry.
I know, it's so classic. It's from the early days. So Lisa puts a photo of Bart from another photo, smiling like a good little boy, in front of his face, but Bart, being the hellion that he is, puts his funny face photo in front of Lisa's photo in front of his face as evil triumphs again over good.
Then Lisa punches the
That's
bad
true.
Bart in the face, and I love Lisa's little giggle there. After a communal meal, Marge complains to Homer that the kitchen faucet is leaking. Sir Fix-a-Lot tries to slay this chore by putting Snowball 2 on the faucet handle. Great visual gag. But Ned, being the landlord, offers to repair the sink. And he goes to the Simpsons closet where he finds all his tools that Homer had borrowed over the years.
Yeah, so moments later, the sink is fixed, and Marge is delighted to discover that hot comes out as hot, like a dream. As Ned goes to leave, Marge asks if Ned can look over a few other leaks, some faulty wires, and dangerous mold conditions. Ned reluctantly obliges, and Marge busts out the job jar.
Man, I gotta say that all these problems that the Simpsons have had in their house, it's their problems, and there's a little using of Ned here that even Marge does it. It kind of gets to me, like in a I don't know. I'm gonna bring it up later maybe, but I feel so bad for Ned in this episode.
It's true. Like, we talk a lot about jerk-ass Homer, but in a way, the family is kind of jerk-ass Simpsons.
Yeah, this is very much a jerk-ass Simpsons episode.
So as Marge opens the job jar, slips of paper fly out and fall to the ground like beautiful snowflakes. No two exactly alike, although many are quite similar.
So Ned is busy around the house pulling hair out of the bathroom sink, which made me gag, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that was disgusting.
And then just on top of that gag, and then when Homer uses it as a makeshift toupee, it's like, ugh, nope,
yeah.
Nope. I know this is a drawing, but still gross.
Yeah, I am a Baldwin, so I don't have to worry about this much, but...
A Baldwin? Which one?
Steven.
That's true. You're a crazy religious kook.
I love Jesus and hate something. But I lived with somebody who had a lot of hair, and I remember
You can say it was Chewbacca.
It was Chewbacca. I lived with a Wookiee. But, like, the shower drain would just be, like, clogged full of hair, and I'd have to, like, pull it out, and I went through, like, 3 gallons of Drano a week, and it was gross. So, yeah, that's a gross scene.
Checking on an electrical socket, which happens to be a load-bearing socket, then causes the front window of the house to crumble. Ned was checking that part. And as Marge praises him for being like a genie, Ned comes down to say that, well, he was in the attic working on some installation. He slipped on an oil lamp and banged his head, resulting in bandages that resembled a turban, which also, notice that the genie lamp looks like just like the Aladdin lamp. So
yeah,
they're all Disney now.
I would love to see, this is real, I'd love to see an oil lamp like that in action, because I don't know how they work. Is there a flame that comes out somewhere, or?
Well, maybe the top, right, or the spout.
I guess so. So it's like a teapot of fire.
I don't know. I don't think is it really a thing?
Well, I mean, you think about like all of like genies in a lamp, and they always look like that lamp. And I don't know how that's a lamp.
That's not a lamp.
This is a lamp. See, you played Lampy Spoony before.
Yeah. All right. Let's get this episode over with, Steve.
Alrighty. Marge is more than pleased, and she can finally serve her house is up to code cake. Night falls, and while in bed, Ned receives a phone call from his neighbors. Marge is concerned that there's a gas leak as her flames shooting from a crack in their wall. Ned informs the needy family that he's had his warm glass of milk for the night, so he is done, out of business. And as Homer lights a cigar from the wall flames, he grows upset at his new landlord.
He won't come over.
He what? Flanders, landlords like you are the scum of the earth. You lounge around in your egg McMansions, and we never see you unless the rent check's late.
The rent check is late.
You, some friend you are. The minute you become our landlord, you expect us to pay rent? You'd better just pray I don't find out where you live. Bart! Don't forget to turn the chicken.
I thought Ned said pay when you can. Now Ned has a date set, or?
Huh, maybe we were wrong. Maybe he is being a dick.
Yeah, fuck you, Flanders. So right there in that clip, we see Bart roasting a chicken over a spit and popping some Jiffy Pop using the wall of fire. Steve would disapprove of the Jiffy Pop.
Yeah, I was going to say, when's the last time you had some Jiffy Pop?
To be honest, I'd never had it.
So my brother really likes popcorn a lot, and I like popcorn quite a bit too. And so we would have all forms of popcorn growing up, and every now and then we'd have Jiffy Pop. And I don't want to say that I don't like it, but it just tastes like Jiffy Pop, not like popcorn, because it has its own kind of brand of artificial butter, and it's always burnt.
It's like Twizzlers. It's not licorice. It's just plastic.
That's a really good analogy. It's like, it tastes like its own thing. And it's not bad. It's just Jiffy Pop.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I was in high school camping with a friend of ours. You might have been there. I don't know if you were, but we got Jiffy Pop, but we put it over the fire and it didn't do anything. It just burned everything.
Yeah, that could happen, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you were there or not, but it didn't work. So at Moe's, he's sharing his disgust towards Ned, and that if he were Marge's landlord, he'd fix her pipes, shower her with flowers, and take her on a romantic getaway to the South Seas, and he never return. And Homer thinks that's a good idea. Or
he's like, yeah, you take care of her.
So he offers some advice to Homer how to get back at Ned.
Well, here's how you get back at Flanders. You go to the media, and you get them to expose what a horrible person he really is.
Oh, right, like Dateline did to you.
Yeah, 3 times. The last one was nominated for a Peabody, whatever that is.
This is Kent Brockman with a Channel 6 exclusive, The Evil Ned. 742 Evergreen Terrace, a tiny slice of suburban heaven. But, like dating an actress, what seemed like heaven soon turned to hell.
We live in a house that is trying to kill us.
Hey, Dad.
Who is this Dad you speak of, Lisa Simpson?
You want a cookie, Dad?
Yes. Squeaky stair here. Scary portrait there. Poltergeist in the closet.
Ooh, I died when Homer sat on me.
Why, you little... I'm the victim here!
So, who is responsible for these outrages? The man whose side of the story we didn't even bother to get. Ned Flanders, the worst person who ever lived.
Again, I like Ken Brockman a lot. He's always fun, the news clips. Also, not a sports fan, but or not a big sports fan, but I like the fact that Ned's wearing a Detroit Lions fan shirt.
And then his mustache turns into a Hitler mustache as the devil.
Yeah.
That's a good tattoo, Steve.
Oh, you're right. So at the Flanders' home, Ned sees the news report about him and angrily flips through his several block channels to find the TV channel blocking instruction channel. Ooh.
There was a fun callback to a previous episode from Seasons from the Golden Age where he had all the channels blocked.
Homer Live Flanders.
I feel like we just watched that episode. Like,
I know.
Not on this podcast, but...
just recently. He then confronts Homer, saying he took pity on him and all he got in return was a kick in the cadiddle hopper, which isn't funny, because that's how he swears. Ned declares that at the end of the month, the Simpsons are out of the house. Homer counters that he'll get another neighbor to buy the house, but all of the nearby houses chime in to say otherwise, saying that the Simpsons leaving would be their Christmas.
So our third act here begins with Homer pretending to be the ghost of Jesus. Lots of ghost stuff in this episode, by the way, Steve.
Yeah, we have the Bart as a poltergeist.
I like how it transition from like it'd be their Christmas and then it goes right to this. I'm like, oh shit, are they doing a Christmas Carol on Ned?
Oh yeah,
that's what I thought was going to happen. It was like he was gonna I mean obviously he'd be unsuccessful,
right?
He was, but I like how he was like, I'm just Jesus from the North Pole. But let's find out what they actually happened to Steve.
Yeah.
What? Who is that?
It is me, Jesus. I have come from my workshop in the North Pole to say, don't evict the Simpsons.
Say, Jesus, what was the name of the son of Zachariah?
It was, do you have a computer nearby?
So some great reading by Dan. I really like that. Ned nails a notice to vacate on the Simpsons' front door, and the family notices, and we get a really fun joke.
He's nailing something to our door.
I wonder if it's feces.
Ew, that's gross.
Homie, I think it's an eviction notice. We're gonna be homeless, like Lucille Ball and the Stone Pillow.
Don't worry, Marge. According to this chapter book, we have a secret weapon. Evictee will be granted a stay of eviction if said household includes a resident age 65 or over. Finally, a practical use for my father. Whee! I'm gonna live like a human in a real house!
And the chapter in that book was simply Invictable, a tenant's guide.
Nice.
Homer's using Abe for his own devices, and the caretakers of Springfield Retirement Council are going to miss putting makeup on Grandpa as he sleeps. Really creepy. So what are they doing?
I think they're kind of doing it like when you get drunk and pass out at a party, and probably just draw dicks on his face.
Oh, I thought they were doing like in Kill Bill, where the nurse was getting money for people to use and abuse coma patients.
Oh, maybe that too. I mean, the healthcare system is flawed, so especially among our seniors.
Very, very dark place I just took this podcast to, Steve.
I talked for like 3 minutes about how hanging yourself is the funniest way to die. So I think we're okay.
That might have been cut out of the podcast, but we'll find out.
Okay, well, either way, just send me your thoughts on suicide, and we'll talk about it.
It's actually the only thing that stayed in the podcast. 3 minutes of you talking about suicide.
Cool.
And then we do a BetterHelp.com ad.
That's good. Maybe a hotline or something.
Yeah.
Well, at home, Homer is frustrated as Bart and Lisa's badminton playing is distracting from his watching badminton on TV. The kids have been cooped up in the house for days, resulting in Bart's hair reverting to its natural red color.
That's new canon. Bart's a redhead.
Yeah, it's weird. I wonder if the carpets match the drapes.
He's 10 years old, and you saw the movie. He didn't have
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's got a hardwood floor. So do I.
Jesus. Well, Bart being afraid of being called Rusty again, Marge reads the tenant's manual that only Grandpa has to stay in the family and suggests a family outing.
How about a family outing?
Family outing? I'll start. Lisa's gay.
Right, because I wouldn't want to be gay like my heroes, Billie Jean King, Susan Sontag, Sappho of Lesbos, and I suspect Peppermint Patty.
Well, I guess we could take a quick walk. We'll keep Grandpa occupied with this DVD of Dwight Eisenhower talking about golf.
Now, when I've got a downhill lie, I like to swing wide, just like Patton did when he swung past Kesselring's boys in the Ardennes forest. Let's watch.
This is what I call living in the past.
The nice little cameo by Maurice LaMarche. Always fun to see him do a voice.
Yeah, and the opening with family outing, and Bart's like, I'll start first. Lisa's gay. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
That's what a 10-year-old would say.
Yeah, it's a very Bart-esque thing, and it's just a fun play on words.
And then Lisa rebutting with actually strong gay positive role models.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Peppermint Patty. I don't think she's a role model.
I mean, maybe not for you, but...
Yes, sir.
I think it's respectful to call people sir. After a trip for some ice cream cones, and Homer vividly recalling the story of getting said ice cream cones, and then recalling the story of Bart, recalling the story of Homer telling the story of getting said ice cream cones, the family returns to 742 Evergreen Terrace to find that all of their belongings are on the front lawn. It turns out that Ned has allowed Abe to move in with him, and even feeds him people food.
So were they just giving Grandpa Santa's E-Helpers food?
Probably, or maybe even the kitten chow.
Oh. Well, Steve, I guess the Simpsons are out on the street, and it couldn't possibly get any worse.
Well, at least it's not raining. I mean, no, really. It would be a lot worse if it were to rain on the Simpsons family at that moment. So it's nice that it's a clear day.
They're just homeless.
Yeah.
That's also a fun gag, too, because all TV shows, would do like, it could be worse, and then...
Yeah.
It's worse. That was a fun little fuck you. That's another trope that they spun around with that and the Homer in the beginning with, I left something for the new residents upstairs.
Yeah, so they're turning traditional TV on its rear end and slapping its little booty.
Who do they think they are? The MASH of the 90s? Sorry, I tried to shoehorn in a MASH.
Yeah, that worked.
No, not really. Anyways, at the Springfield homeless shelter, we find our family 75 beds from the wall and 100 beds from the crazy guy. Bart and Lisa are donning the clothes that they donated to the shelter last year, promotional shirts for the first Hulk movie.
Why are they wearing other clothes in the first place? I mean, they've been homeless for like 2 hours, and they still have the clothes that they were wearing.
They only have an outfit.
I guess that's fair.
But I like how, I think we made a reference to the first Hulk movie and the second Hulk movie a couple episodes ago. I thought it was kind of funny that it is again. But yeah, so Bart plays with his toys of kicking and bed bug bites. Lisa laments that this is the lowest the family has ever sunk.
Back at their old house, though, we see a for rent sign, and that Ned has found some potential tenants who are ideal. Excellent credit, Christian, but not Baptist, and they only have sex for procreation. If that, they seem perfect. But when their dog, Wolfie Goldberg, finds the photo of Ned and the Simpsons family, Flanders begins to rethink the deal.
Who's this?
Oh, that's just a family who used to make my life interesting.
I'll just add my initials there.
For he's a fabulous Flanders.
There.
Which nobody can deny.
Oh, and there. Exciting.
Folks,
And least.
I'm afraid you can't live here.
Roger Dodger. Back in the car, Nance.
Yay! But why?
Well, the people who lived here before weren't always the best neighbors, but I love them. And you can't be a saint unless you live among the lepers. I hope you don't mind.
And I hope you won't mind when we sue.
I think you should. The court papers will be a great way to stay in touch.
Well, hasn't this been a peach of a breach? We'll see you in court.
I like the couple.
Yeah.
I mean, Flanders is fine being sued.
Yeah, and the guy is okay with suing him, but not like angry about it. It's just very reasonable.
Love it. So Ned decides to let the Simpsons stay, and they promise never to abuse their friendship again. And the Simpsons are back.
Hooray for stupid Flanders. All the neighbors put up their for sale signs, and, well, that's our episode.
Steve, does that mean that, I don't know what the future is, but does it mean that even current day Simpsons, that Flanders still owns the Simpsons house?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I guess it would make sense.
It's a weird canon change that I know that they probably don't bring up again, but they could have totally canon changed this entire episode by having a cow print couch, but, cowards didn't keep that in. And then Flanders owning it. So there should be an episode where, maybe Homer can't pay Flanders rent.
Quick pitch here. Like, Ned has to raise the rent by, like, $15 just for, like, whatever reason. And, like, he feels so bad about it that he, like, comes to the Simpsons and, like, apologizes and was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I have to raise the rent by $15. And then, like, Homer gets, like, super upset and, like, plans a revenge. And that's the whole episode.
All right. Well, you can write that up, Steve.
Already working on it.
Do that on your break, Steve. I think we should take a break and then just kind of wrap up this week's episode.
Sounds like a plan. We'll be right back.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Hi, I'm Laura Lutz, co-host of the Glow and Tell podcast.
And I'm Steve Lutz, co-host of the 138th Simpsons podcast.
We're married and we both like to eat.
And we have a podcast.
On our show, we'll discuss the food we love, the meals we make,
and drinks to go with it.
So if you enjoy cooking, eating, or anything to do with food, check out our podcast, Let's Eat.
Each week, we'll talk about a dish we made, what pairs with it, and all of our thoughts about food in general.
Find our show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on social media at Let's Eat Podcast.
And you can email us at let'seatpod@gmail.com.
Let's eat!
And we're back, Steve. Let's wrap up this week's episode with some good old-fashioned trivia, maybe a review, our review, of course, little fun sight gags that we liked that could be on T-shirts or tattoos, maybe a quote, maybe a most valuable jokester. I don't know. Let's start off with some fun things. How about T-shirts or tattoos? What would you like? Sorry to be so forceful there.
Watch it, Craig. I think I'm going to be simple, and you probably think I'm going to go with Homer hanging himself again.
Have a back-to-back or neck to neck.
I'm actually going to keep it simple and use this shirt or use this show for an opportunity to do a classic Simpsons episode. I'm going to have Bart making his little funny face on a T-shirt.
Just like a framed photo of Bart with the teeth?
Exactly. Just him with his underbite just going, Arr! Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great shirt or tattoo. Yeah, we can print that. Steve, get that printed right now. Right now.
Alrighty.
And I alluded it in the episode too. I just want a Devil Flanders with Hitler mustache and a Detroit Lions shirt. That would definitely go on the Instagram of Shitty Simpsons tattoos, right?
Oh yeah. Also, I don't know. I don't think I mentioned it, but I like the fact that the shirt says Detroit Lions fan. It doesn't say Detroit Lions. It says that, hey, I'm a fan of this.
That's kind of like, when you had those Halloween costumes of Superman, but it wasn't actual Superman's costume. And they make that joke in an episode of The Simpsons too, of Radioactive Man. Well, it's not his costume. It's just a picture of Radioactive Man. It reminds you of that. And then the funniest is the most fandom ever is the Seattle Seahawks, where there's literally, they call the 12th man is the fan. Mm-hmm. So you buy those jerseys that have number 12 and then fan on it. So that is literally ultimate of those Ruby's costumes or.
Yeah. That's so funny. You're so right about the costumes. I'm pretty sure that I had one when I was a kid. I think I had a He-Man one.
No, yeah, same here. It was He-Man.
And instead of it being his chest with the thing, it said He-Man.
Yep. It might have had him on Battle Cat or.
I think it totally did, yeah.
but the pants part was still the loincloth and the skin and
right.
The boots or whatever. And then his mask. But nope, you couldn't have that cool Iron Cross that he wore.
Yeah.
Because he was, a German World War I soldier, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the symbol he wore on his chest?
It was, yeah. That weird kind of World War I. And he was blonde.
How homoerotic is he, man, right?
Oh yeah, real. Well, I mean, like he has a secret as Prince Adam,
Well-
and he has to like go to the closet to change.
No, he had to say, "I have the power."
Right.
And to come out of the closet, you have to have that power in yourself to come out to friends and family. Yeah. Tila always tried to get with him, but he just always like Orko. What's that?
I don't know. What did Skeletor represent then? Like just
The masculinity that he's lacking.
he was trying to fight his boners.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Welcome to He-Man Talk with Stephen Craig.
The Castle of Gay Skull.
Yeah, so that's our shirts and tattoos. Steve, how about quotes?
So there were actually some funny lines here. We talked about the family outing being really funny. I really liked the frustrated auctioneer with the paddles, just because it was very conversational. I love all of Dan's reading in this, but I think my favorite quote is when the Simpsons notice Ned nailing the eviction notice, saying,
"He's nailing something to our door."
I wonder if it's Theseus.
Ew, that's gross.
That's it. That's my quote of the week. It's really funny to me.
All right, well, it's one of those rare occasions where we have... Is it a rare occasion where we both like the same quote? But that's my favorite quote, too. Did you also have the mental image of Flanders taking a bag of shit and just, like, nailing it to the...
See, I didn't even see the bag. I was like, how would that work? Like, I just imagine trying to nail... It's gross. And then, like, it falling to pieces. Ugh.
What's that song? I fall to pieces. This is my last resort. It's about a turd being nailed to a door.
Yes, that collab with Patsy Cline and Papa Roach.
Whatever happened to Papa Roach?
They invested in a pizza company called Papa Roach's, and it closed shortly thereafter.
Because he was a crazy... what was wrong with Papa John again?
He's a crazy, sweaty racist.
Okay. So Papa Roach is the same thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, we might get sued for libel there, or slander. Which one is it?
Libel is in print, so slander.
Okay, so, well, Papa Roach, we were just joking. This is a parody podcast.
Yeah, you're great.
I guess. All right, well, there's some
Stupid,
fun.
sexy slander.
Yeah. Hey, how about, let's do some trivia.
Alrighty. The title is a reference to the title being No Loan Again Naturally, is a reference to Gilbert Earl Sullivan's song Alone Again Naturally, and that was also parodied in a previous episode called Alone Again Naturadiddly. Interestingly enough, both episodes around Ned Flanders. So, yeah.
Which we haven't reviewed that yet, but soon we will, Steve.
Yeah, it's a big episode.
Eventually, Steve. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
So yeah, Bart's hair is naturally red color without sun. So, however, this contradicts I Married Marge, where Bart was born with yellow hair, which I would contradict that with a lot of children are born blonde and then aren't blonde.
Yeah, they kind of go like orangey red,
Well,
or kind of ranges.
We were both towheads, right?
Yeah.
And mine went from blonde to brown.
Yeah, and mine kind of always had like a dishwater blonde kind of quality.
Yeah, maybe we were blonde, but we weren't like Dauber from Coach Blonde. What's his name? Patrick Warburton. Nope. Patrick Fabian. No, wait.
Patrick Starfish.
Patrick Starfish. There we go. What's my name? Dauber. Why can't I think of his name?
Bill Fagerbakke.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you think of Bill Fagerbakke?
Bill Fingerbanky. He also was Marshall's father on How I Met Your Mother.
Huh.
That was a really sad episode when he died. Spoilers.
Oh.
I recommend you watch that episode, just that episode. Actually, it wouldn't affect you because you wouldn't have grown with the characters. Anyways, any other trivia, Steve?
The last episode to feature Ned as landlord only for Homer to humiliate him was Home Away from Homer. So evidently they do talk about this again.
Oh, what's that from?
Home Away from Homer. Yeah, I guess so. And while you're looking that up, I'll say that Homer said that they started Mardi Gras, that Mardi Gras was 2 days before Bart was born, which would make his birthday February 11th. However, Bart's birthday has been stated as either February 23rd, which is non-canon, or April 1st. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I remember when that was coming out, or the Bart's birthday. I was looking up, some people on like Instagram were like, it's Bart's birthday. I'm like, wait a minute, but no, isn't it this day? Or yeah, it's contradictory. But you said Home Away from Homer, where Ned is the landlord for Homer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this episode that we just reviewed, No Loan Again, is from season 20. Well, Home Away from Homer is from season 16, episode 21.
Oh, interesting.
So this also, I kind of remember this episode. It's guest voice Liam Neeson.
Oh, I kind of remember that too. And oh yeah, I remember this one a little bit.
Yeah, so Bart is wrongfully expelled from school. He is sent to a Bible school where he befriends a hit priest named Father Sean. Yeah, I do kind of remember that episode. All right, well.
Before we get to our own reviews, let's see if there's any from exterior websites. I have one here from TV.com.
Go ahead and read it.
Alrighty. It is from Tubal-Cain 420. This is from March 9th, 2009, so right around when this episode aired originally. It is entitled Superjet Dinosaur Fun Monkeys, referencing the Mardi Gras float that they were making. He gives the episode a 10. I am as conservative about The Simpsons as Ned Flanders is about everything. Nothing weird or out of character, thank you very much. Don't leave Springfield. And don't introduce someone from outside Springfield. No guest voices playing themselves or otherwise. I really love this episode because it's all Springfield regulars and regular Springfield places. Flanders and the Simpsons landlord is such a seemingly obvious plot, I'm amazed they haven't already done it. More importantly, they don't botch it. The jokes are mostly well written, and Homer doesn't over-deliver anything. I'm going to try to savor this triumphant episode before the Simpsons are going to Ireland.
That happened like season 12, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Like Grandpa goes to Ireland or...
Yeah, they like inherit a bar or something.
Wait, I think, isn't that a Family Guy episode?
Oh, wait. Yeah, it is.
But I think it's also a Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to look it up.
Yeah.
I feel like they have gone to Ireland. And the name of the grandfather, season 20, episode 14. Wait a minute.
Oh.
So this review, only two, so he says, I'm going to savor this triumphant episode before the Simpsons are on Ireland. So he knew that episode was coming about.
Yeah. Huh.
Did you know that Cole Meany's in that episode?
Oh, Cole Meany.
TV's Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
I don't think he's a Mushroom Steve at all.
No, part of him is. I saw that one episode of something.
Hey, let's review this ourselves. How about
Alrighty. So I was kind of speechless going into this episode.
Ew, gross.
I thought it was a lot of fun. It is kind of a basic episode. I think really nice and reminiscent of the era of like the 20th season. And, you know, on paper, it is kind of a formulaic sitcom episode. But we talked about it, and some of the tropes that they use, they kind of break that wall of tropes, like the not raining thing and leaving with a surprise. And, you know, there's some genuine jokes. I mentioned it a bunch, but the auctioneer, I just love the conversational nature of him. And I really enjoyed the heart of the episode. I thought it was sweet and an earned sweetness because, like we talked about, the house is so meaningful to them and us as the viewer of what we know as The Simpsons to be. And so I enjoy this episode. It might not be like the most hilarious episode or the most important episode you need to watch, but if it's on TV on a weekend, I'm going to watch it. And if somebody's like, hey, what's a good example of season 20? This is a really good example of what works in the later episodes. And so I'm going to say, you know, their house sold for $101 million.
God damn it.
I'm going to buy it for $75,000. So a 7.5 out of 11.
Also, for $100,000 that it was sold for, really cheap, and that house is great. Like you can't find that house in Portland for the price. You can find a used porta potty for that price. But yeah, I agree with you with this episode. It actually watching it was like, wow, this is actually kind of a fun take on the trope of I'm going to buy this thing that you have, but you know, we've seen it in sitcoms before. You know, like I'm sure, like in Cheers episodes, like Sam has to. You remember that episode? Sam has to sell the bar to like what was his name, Melvin or Melville, or whatever the guy owns. The place upstairs. The restaurant there, and even for like 3 seasons, like Sam didn't own the bar. 4 or 5
That's
seasons.
True.
Tough times for me in that show. I just felt bad when Sam didn't have the bar.
I know. It's tough.
Is this a Cheers podcast
where everyone knows your name?
There was also something in this episode that we rarely ever see, and that's a Marge taking advantage of someone's generosity.
It's true.
And I felt like the jerk assness of the actual Simpsons family. Well, mostly Marge and Homer.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they're just doing their things. Really weird, and I felt I actually felt sympathy for Flanders in this episode.
Yeah,
and there's some actual moments like we talked about when Homer has that flower, the plant upstairs in the bedroom, And you're right, going through like that's also our house too. You know,
yeah, exactly.
And that what you said. So again, this is a good episode and a good example of new episodes to watch. Granted, it is 11 years old.
Yeah,
it hits those moments too that you need. And I was going to use the $100,000 as you did to screw it. I can't figure it out. Here you go. We're going to go at 8 minutes and 31 seconds when Skinner's face is all screwed up. I'm going to give it a 6.26.
Nice. I like it. His face is only half melted.
It's only half melted.
One more point I wanted to bring up that is I should have mentioned in my review is that, we talk a lot about the Flanderization of characters and, Ned Flanders himself being the genesis of that trope of like a character being a parody of himself, Ned being super religious and kind of annoying and preachy. In this episode, he was just a good guy. And I think that's kind of something special that, when you mentioned about the Simpsons being jerkasses, it's interesting because he was just trying to do the right thing the whole episode without being a preachy, like his religion didn't really play into it. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
You're absolutely right. There was really zero religion. And it was Homer was the one who brought it up as the Jesus. And if you look at it too, you think of we're watching everything from like Homer's point of view or the Simpsons point of view. So of course, Flanders is uber religious guy and he just wants to help his neighbor. And there's even that moment too with Flanders when he did his diddly diddlies and Homer's like, what? He's like, that's how I swear.
Yeah. So
like Flanders is well aware of who he is.
Right.
I enjoyed everyone in this episode. So yeah, this is a fun episode. Really enjoyed it.
So we hope you did too.
All right. Well, let us know what you think, I guess. But let's find out what we're watching next week.
Alrighty. And to do that, we need our good friend, the Wheel of Random. I'll bring that out and let's spin to see what season we're in. All right, Steve, we're going 6 years into the future to season 26. Season 26. Alrighty, and why don't we spin that to see what episode? Steve, we're going to episode 16. Season 26, episode 16. The title of this episode is called Sky Police. Ooh. It was originally aired March 8th, 2015. Directed by Rob Oliver. Written by Matt Selman. Ooh, Selman. Ooh, Selman. That's right. So the synopsis is Chief Wiggum uses a military jetpack to fight crime. Ends up crashing into the church, leaving Marge and the congregation to resort to gambling to raise money for the repairs. Steve, even though Matt Selman wrote this episode, are you sure he didn't listen to us pitch an episode from Go Back in Time? Yeah, that sounds like something we'd come up with. Like, Marge likes to gamble. Jetpack. So it's from 2015. Steve, I have no recollection of this episode. I gotta say, I'm not looking forward to next week. No, and on a somber note, this episode aired the day longtime Simpsons alum Sam Simon died. Oh. So. God, thanks. Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. All right. Well, I guess come back next week and we'll see what this is about, guys. Please don't go away. Yeah, come back. We need you. Stay in touch with us. We got some socials, medias like Twitter's, Facebook, Instagram at 138 Simpsons. We also have some merch on our TeePublic site. It's tpublic.com/user/annoyedgruntboys. And you can always email us at 138simpsons@gmail.com. And if you have the power, like He-Man, go to your podcatching app and rate and review us. Give us 5 stars if you're so kind. And write a review. But you don't have to write a real review. You can write a quote of your favorite Simpsons character saying a thing that you liked. It like could be... Feces, you. Or family outing. Lisa's gay. All right. Well... Tune in next week to us, I guess. Steve, do you need to promote your OnlyFans page, or are you good? For now, I'm doing good. I've got a lot of Ukrainian fans. Those guys, they really like what I'm offering. All right. Well, you can reach Steve at TikTok as well, I'm assuming. Yep. Don't stop. It's called Tick to the Talk at TikTok.com. I make funny little videos. I blast the sound way too loud, and it's a thing that I totally understand as a 38-year-old man.
You're such a thought? Tot? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I'm thick with 2 C's.
Okay. I've been half an annoyed grunt boy, Craig.
And I've been half annoyed grunt boy, Steve.
And remember, keep watching the skis.
Happy Mardi Gras, everybody.
Boobies.